been some time, I've been away, but hey, I'm here, maybe not to stay. I couldn't tell you if my mental health will take another dip, but I'm here for now. All right, I'm also back to using my computer because just because I feel like it, because I don't really have anywhere to mount my phone in this room, and this is where I want to stream. Hey, hi, I am back for a bit. Streaming. TiredBard. Down by the bay, where the watermelon grow. Back to my home, I dare not go. For if I do, my mother will say, see, this is the problem with somebody introducing me to TikTok. I don't actually know how that song ends. It's fine. I'm fine. Bop. Okay. Well, it's been a minute. I've been away for a minute, or 2, or 10, or several months. I've chopped all my hair off again, as I do. Mainly because I'm one of those people who cuts their hair off whenever they have a mental breakdown, but such is life. It goes on. Nano is coming. I am so not ready for snow. Yes, noveler, please update to my latest version. I've already hit my word count goal for today. I have started reading 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which I should have started reading many years ago, but I read Journey to the Center of the Earth instead, and didn't love it. But this I'm enjoying, and Captain Nemo is crazy, and it's giving me all kinds of nostalgia for that stupid Mysterious Island game. Which makes sense because that's based on Jules Verne, but whatever. Alright, so I don't really know if this is going to be me nano prepping, or if this is just going to be me writing more of my current Jessie chapter, which is where I have been. But this is not saved there. This is saved on one of my after chapters with Amalthea. That is not what I wanted. But right now, I'm in the middle of a Jessie chapter. I don't know. I've been rewriting a lot. And I need to stop doing that. I need to actually finish the story once through, and then I can get to rewriting, because I have not had a actually complete start to end version of this story since the second iteration in 2012-ish. Since then, I have had weird bits and pieces and chapters that go some places, but not really in a straight line from here's the beginning to here's the end. And then I decided, you know what? I want to fully tell Daniel and Jessie and Moira's stories as well. Because I like pain, apparently. I'm going to be mad at myself for chewing gum in this later, but right now I am way too full and my stomach needs to be settled. Anyways, Jessie is waking up, coming to, and basically going, oh gosh, I have forgotten how I set this up. My teeny tiny face goes here at the top. We make it small. And then my noveler window goes down here, just like that. Perfect. So now I can see my face, and I can see my writing, and everybody is happy. I don't know that for sure, but I am happy. I could be doing this at my desk, but instead I'm sitting on the bed in the guest room. Because that's where I write best. Because I conditioned myself to do so. Which is not the smartest thing for me to do, but oh well. I hate when I do this. I copy. Whenever I share a piece of writing, I end up editing it as I'm sharing it. That's always the most annoying thing. Down by the bay, where watermelon grow. Just because then I have to replace it in my actual document, and that is always a pain in the ass. Literally always. Anyways, I am altering a Jesse chapter where he is waking up after Daniel shows up at his parents' and basically says, "We're leaving tomorrow because I'm fucking exhausted." And Jesse is unhappy about that. But the night progresses and things happen, and Jesse gets a better night's sleep than he has had in a very long time, which he deserves. I actually think I'm going to share this piece. I already shared it in my Discord. My Discord. Not my Discord, but the lovely Discord that Aslan started. I love that human so much. And I love the Discord that started. It's just so good. It's so good. Down by the bay, where the watermelon grow, back to my home, I dare not go, for if I do, okay. Where's my tag list? It's all the way down here, and it's a lot of people now. Seriously, I never expected to have this many people attached to a thing. Like, oh boy. It makes me so happy. Blueberry Pop-Tart, Inexorable, Drowsy Quill, Easy, Inscriptions. There's Elle, there's Lux, there's you. I don't remember your name right now. Half the people in this tag list are thirsty for Amalthea, and I can't impress upon them how bad a decision that is. But it's fine, because we're all gay, and it doesn't even matter. Jesse. Nope, that's not how I do my character ref pages. Ah, shit. Fuck. Damn it. I'm sorry. I try to be better writing. Writers on Tumblr. Right? Blur. Vampire Right Blur. Right Blur Community. There we go. And character FJ. I guess character FDA? I suppose. I also need to finish my character boards, because I've really been enjoying doing those. I only have completed ones for Carrie and Alex. I have a half-completed one for Daniel, a half-completed one for Over the Wall and Into the Light, a mostly finished one for Isaac, one for the relationship between Isaac, Tom, and Carrie, which is... They are just the Golden Trio. That is what they are. They are basically Harry, Ron, and Hermione. And I love it. Home you go and say you stay and work to do in the morning. Forget your dreams of going away. Forget your sailors and go away. I'm listening to that a lot too, because it's my bond, and I am ramped up to 11 on the witchy shit right now, because that's just where my brain is. But that's fine. I like my brain to be there. It's nice when my brain is there. It hasn't been there very much as of late, because I've been dealing with some garbage mental health stuff, and it's not going well for me. Like, life in general is going fine. My brain is just a dick. Forget your dreams are going away. Forget your sailors and go away. I forgot. It's been quite some time, and there have been some developments in present day over the wall into the light. Namely, a proposal, or the start of one, because Jesse has decided that it has to be done properly, because otherwise he doesn't get to see Daniel blush like a fucking teenager. And really, that's all we ever want. And I mean, it's true. But also, and possibly more importantly, Jesse's father passed away, which, I don't know, like, it's turning into sort of him repairing, well, starting to allow his mother to apologize and starting to maybe accept those apologies and try to move forward and form a relationship with his mother again. Mostly for Sarah's sake, but also because, like, she's trying. Like, what he said, like, the last time that Jesse saw his parents was when Sarah went missing and Daniel came to get him. The night he arrived to visit Sarah, when they threw that huge fucking dinner party with a whole bunch of other people to show off their perfect little nuclear family that hadn't been perfect in a million years. And when everybody was gone, you don't need to see me take my mouth. That's just unnecessarily gross. Into the trash it goes. Anyways, when everybody was gone, and he was understandably very angry because he hadn't even wanted to stay at the house. So he hadn't even been really intending to tell them that he was dying, but an opportunity presented itself, and he called both his parents out for exploiting his existence and exploiting his sister's existence for their own benefit and for their own reputation, and basically told his mother, yeah, I'm sure you'll have a great time writing your next article about how your gay son died. Trying to get sympathy out of the world that you don't deserve, because you never actually gave a shit about either of us. And that was one of the last interactions Miranda Addison had with her eldest child. Yikes. That's just flat out yikes. And so here we are in the present day. They're both, like, they'd be what? In their 60s, 70s now? They'd be roughly the age of my grandparents. That makes sense. Chronologically, Jesse would be about my parents' age, so they would be about my grandparents' age. I have so many timelines in my head. God, it's annoying. Anyways, so his father passes away, and Sarah tells him. And Sarah wants him to come to the funeral. And Jesse basically says, okay, I suppose, but don't expect me to be civil. And so he goes, and he shows up, and his mother finds him, and she has a mental breakdown. Because, like, nowhere explicitly does it ever say that Jesse has died. Like, nowhere. Like, he didn't pass off any of this, didn't fake his own death. He fucking went back to school after they found Sarah and finished his degree, which his parents knew about, but then he basically just dropped off the face of the earth. Like, nowhere did it say he died, he just stopped. He stopped doing public work, I guess. Like, he still does he does all the art stuff. And he's pretty damn good at that, and he and Moira have the webcomic now, but none of that matters. He just doesn't really exist. Except for when Sarah tells her parents about him. Their parents about him. There are siblings. Keep things straight in my brain. Anyways, so Sarah keeps them updated to a point-ish. Because Miranda still doesn't know when he shows up because she asks him if Daniel's coming and if they're still a thing and if she's even right at thinking that they're a thing. And Jesse just basically shuts down and says something to the effect of, would you even fucking care if we were, if we weren't? Like, it's so hard. Writing Jesse's old chapters is hard because it puts me in a place where I am thinking about parts of my life that I don't like. Parts of my life where I felt very alone and very trapped and very unhappy with myself. But Jesse stopped hating himself a lot quicker than I did. And I think writing him is a really, really good way for me to forward my own healing process. And as I've healed certain things, I've also been more able to write Jesse healing certain things. He just does it at a much more rapid pace than I did. Because he had more people around him to turn to. Whereas I had two sort of large incidences, and then my brain took that and went, you can go to nobody. And it's so... Jesse is such an important person. He's so important. He and Isaac, my two fucking Catalyst boys. And that's not to say all of them aren't important, but they hold very specific meanings. And maybe it's just to me, but I haven't had real proper eyes on this story and all that it is in way too long to tell. And I would love to have somebody look at it all. Look at it with an open eye. And tell me what they thought. because I know it's unfocused and it's scattered, and that's a product of my brain and a product of having worked on this damn thing for 9, not quite 9, 8 years now. Have an 8-year-old child and it's a book. And there are times when I think it should never see the light of day. And there are times when I scrape the bottom of the barrel to get another 100 or 200 or 500 words out of my system in a day so that I can get that much closer to getting it out there for people to actually see. It's so odd too. Like, nothing has ever struck me more than the reactions I get to this story. It's it's always it's so no story I have told has ever felt more real to me. And this story involves vampires in text only. Like, you could remove the fact that there are vampires and this story would still hold the same merit. I just decided I wanted to tell it across spans of hundreds of years instead of a few short decades. And even then, I sometimes have days where I think maybe I should tell it like what it is, like literary fiction, like a study of the human condition and of emotion and feeling and I don't know. But whether or not this story goes any further than my own head doesn't really matter. What matters is that it made people feel things, people who were me and people who weren't me. And that's fucking amazing. It's just, I wonder sometimes if I should take these streams and narrate parts of it. Because I do really like to hear it back out loud. It helps me a lot. Maybe someday. Not now, but sometime. I feel like everything's been really quiet lately. Me and my writing and work up until a couple weeks ago. Even family up until this weekend. It's been it's been an okay time. Just not inside my head. See, the thing about Jesse, and people are so going to get sick of me talking about him easily, quickly, often. He's just, he's so unbearably there. Like, he's one of those people that demands your attention without verbally demanding it. Something about his presence just speaks. I am the one in this room you should be paying attention to, even if I don't realize it. And the moment with his mother, after all these fucking years of her not seeing him and of Sarah just giving her bits and pieces of he lives here now, he has a family, basically just his mother taking to heart, oh yeah, I was a shitty parent and I have been rightfully replaced by people who are probably taking much better care of him than I ever did. And he shows back up for this funeral and she fucking breaks. And he doesn't know how to deal with it. He doesn't want to deal with it. He did not come back here to reconcile a relationship that did not exist when he was younger. And sometimes you have to. And it sucks. Sometimes you have to be the bigger person, and sometimes you have to be willing to start to fix a relationship that you don't want the responsibility of fixing. But she's trying, at least, in whatever way she knows how to. She's had certainly long enough to think about it. And this thing about her calling him Bird, about him wanting to get close to the sky and her having to pull him off the roof again and again as a kid because he's just that kind of person. He's the as high as I can get in the tree I will go, regardless of whether or not I can get down. The I live in a big house and the sky looks so cool from the roof and the ground looks so far away, and scaring his mother out of her mind when he is like 7 or 8 and on the roof. I think it's just everything that happens to him is really important to me. And I didn't know the extent of it when I started, because Jesse started out as a very happy-go-lucky person, and he's still a very happy-go-lucky person. It's just that he tries very hard to be that person now. And he didn't have to try before. Before, that's just who he was, because before, he was a blank piece of paper that said, high energy, happy, big brother figure. And that's basically how he remained forever. Oh, I should turn my Discord noises off. That's going to get annoying for everybody very quickly. By everybody, I mean you, because I can see you, and I love you. Anyways. Happy, high energy, big brother figure. And throughout the first couple of rewrites, that stuck, and that was about all that stuck. And I mean, in the original, of course, I did that stupid mind fuck garbage where he pretended to have been her biological brother. And so that would mean he grew up in the same abusive household with Jack and Corinne, but we're not gonna go there because that was bad. It was so bad. But it did lead to him sending Alex a Christmas card disguised as her parents that she knew was fake because they were dead. But that goes into free, and I don't like thinking about the fact that I originally wrote a sequel to this where Alex just stayed a half vampire forever and married Isaac and had a child. I don't like it. But that was me at the time. I was 14 and a bit of an idiot, but I was learning. He evolved a little bit. I think he evolved a little bit once I took things away from California and put them on the East Coast, but that was true of everybody. But it wasn't until this spring last fall? Maybe around last Nano. Yeah, about a year ago, I suppose, when... Who was that garbage president? I don't know. I don't think it was... No, it was like the anniversary of his death or something. Garbage president from the 80s. I know that doesn't narrow it down. But it just led me into a whole spiral of research because, like, the information point in my head of Jesse being HIV positive has always been there. Like, it's always been there. Forever. Like, I stuck it in as sort of like a mental tack point of do more research later. I know this is a thing that we're doing, but do more research when you're actually going to write about it. And so I spent like 4 days delving so far down the rabbit hole that I ended up learning things I didn't even know about and getting very angry and realizing that Jesse's life was so much worse and he had to try so much harder to be the person that he was. And so from then it became, okay, why didn't he want to go home? And why was he so fixated on saving Sarah? And both of those kind of revolve around his parents. He didn't want to go home for obvious reasons, because they had thrown him out before he was even out of high school. He couch surfed until he decided he was going to college in California, and then he cut off contact with them. And then when he realized that between paying for college and living, not being homeless, he was going to continue to get sicker and eventually die, he decided, okay, I'm going to go say goodbye to my sister, and then I'm going to end things on my own terms. Slightly prior to this, at least slightly prior to going to see Sarah, he meets Daniel, who says, yes, I can kill you if you want. Because on a wholly unrelated point, Daniel hasn't really been doing so well since Amalthea murdered his previous family. So Jesse shows up in his life and basically upheaves everything. But Jesse goes back to visit Sarah because Sarah's birthday is November 1st, and she wants him to be there for Halloween, and so he goes probably about a week before Halloween. Plans to stay for 2. Last week of October, first week of November. He goes. His parents have insisted he stay in the house, despite the fact that he'd be like, yeah, no, I'd be perfectly happy to stay in a hotel, actually much happier to stay in a hotel. I really don't want to be in the same house as you people. So he gets there, and I think it's worth noting that Jesse's parents are very solidly wealthy. Like they have a live-in housekeeper wealthy who was basically a nanny for Jesse and Sarah when they were little. So he comes back, and every trace of him has been removed from this house. There are pictures of Sarah on days that he remembers, but he's nowhere to be found. His room is basically an empty guest room at this point. But his parents have this dinner, and they invite coworkers and neighbors with the intent of showing off their nuclear family. And his father is like toting around the fact that Sarah's going off to this prestigious girls' boarding school the next year, and that Jesse's pursuing his degree at Berkeley as though he actually gives a shit, as though he were paying for it, which he's not. And this just pisses Jesse the hell off, and he leaves. And eventually his father goes after him and tries to shout at him, and he goes, no. You don't get to play this game. Goes back to the dinner and tries to disrupt it as best he can, much to Sarah's amusement and much to both his parents' increasing annoyance and frustration. But you know what? They kind of fucking deserve it. Not even kind of. They really fucking deserve it. They are really bad parents who should not have had children, but they did, and then they didn't care for them. They saw them as points that could increase or decrease their reputation, basically, and that was it. Halloween comes. Sarah gets abducted, which, fun fact, Sarah Addison. Ooh, I am so sorry. That must have been so loud. Sarah Addison, and by extension, Jesse's whole last name and family dynamic, I suppose, came from a one-shot that I wrote for a contest when I was still on Wattpad called Time Is Up, where Sarah was a trained assassin that had been abducted as a child, who was running away from the basically mafia that had abducted and trained her and kind of brainwashed her. So she had run away. Again, this is 14-year-old me writing. The leaders chased after her and murdered her. Like, outside of Chicago. And so for a while, Jesse did not find Sarah alive. When I first decided that Sarah and Jesse were related, because I have a useless need to tie my own stories into each other that just complicates everything in my brain. But I do it anyway. Again, because I like pain. For a solid 2 or 3 rewrites, somewhere in the middle there, when things are still taking shape, Jesse finds Sarah dead. And then an entire criminal operation just goes boop and stops existing overnight. Because Jesse just found his sister with 2 bullets in her head and a broken arm. And he is not playing games. Present day iteration, Sarah is kidnapped. Jesse is devastated. And now even more pissed off about the fact that he's dying. Because, not that he gives a shit about his parents, but, well, now they're losing both their children in a very short space of time. And that's going to be hard for anybody. It's just unimaginably. And so, he's conveying all of this bitterness to Daniel. And Daniel has known this boy for a month, maybe 2 at this point. And he just... I don't even think he would have had this realization were it not for Jesse. He basically just goes, desperate people in your situation do not ask to die. Desperate people in your situation ask to be what I am. And Jesse hasn't been thinking about this either. He obviously has been thinking he doesn't really want to die anymore, but he hasn't really accepted that because he's been so fixated on it for the past 6 months that he cannot actually move away from the thought until Daniel goes, yeah, so vampires? And Jesse goes, oh, wait, that's a thing I can choose? Do you even want me around forever? And Daniel goes, you could go after your sister. And then Jesse goes, okay, yep, I'm sold, the end. Without even mentioning the whole possibly in love with you thing. This poor boy is a mess. It's fine. It works out. He's happy now. Until Amalcia takes Daniel again. Why am I so mean? Why do I do this? Who broke me? Why do I write these things? Why can't I just let them be happy? I would love nothing more than for all of them to just be happy. But I can't. So now he finds Sarah alive. And, well, he maybe gets shot once or twice, a few times. And then obviously it doesn't kill him because, hi, yes, vampires. She's a little bit confused about all that, but it's around the same time that they found Moira, and Moira is still human for quite a while. Like, Moira doesn't stop being human until, like, well into when they're living in Maine. Which, I mean, that's what worked out for her. That's how she wanted things to go. Mainly because she likes the sun, and her circadian rhythm runs like a normal human person. Not a normal human person, because, like, mine runs between I should be sleeping at, like, 1 a.m. to, like, 9 or 10 a.m. It doesn't matter. She likes daylight. She's up way earlier than anybody should be. And I don't like it. But I like her. Sarah ends up leaving because she doesn't want to stay in one place. She just spent months and or years of her life trapped in one place, being forced to watch other children die. So, yeah, somewhere along the line it stopped being a sort of mafia thing and turned into more of like the most dangerous game sort of thing. And again, I'm mean. I'm just mean. It's nothing against them. I love them. I'm just a terrible author mom. So she goes off. She leaves. She comes back and visits Jessie every now and then. And eventually she brings her children, Jamie and Louise, who are adorable. And they love Jessie and they love Mimi and Daniel. And they call Moira Mimi, which is my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing. Everything involving Sarah visiting is so wholesome and good, and it warms my heart and cleanses my soul of all the garbage that I do to these people. Hey you, I'm streaming, so if you want your face to stay off the internet, stay over there.
How many people are watching it?
There's one, but I love them.
Do you know who it is?
No. I know they're probably from my Tumblr, because that's usually the only place I share the link, but... Love you! Gum thief. Timeline. Anyways. Get out. Sarah's gone most of the time. She does visit occasionally. She definitely visits her mother more and her father, because he doesn't die straight off. He dies more present day because Alex is already there, which means it's at least now. Don't ask me what year this is set in. I've lost track because, 2011 is the year we started in, and now things are much, much stranger. But she bounces back and forth. She's definitely spent Christmas with her family a few times. And she's definitely spent Christmas with Jesse and Daniel and Moira a few times.
Oh, hey, Gemma.
What?
Did you know that they're officially trying to impeach Trump?
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's going through the House right now. Mm-hmm.
As in, like, from a few minutes ago?
As of sometime this afternoon. The Speaker of the House announced it.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Because he said something to the Prime Minister of the Ukraine about supporting his political campaign, which is illegal.
That's what fits.
That's the line? Yeah, I know.
Okay, sure. Whatever. It's fine.
They just wanted another one.
Yeah, okay, sure, I guess.
I mean, just think of it this way. If they succeed, we've impeached Trump. If they don't succeed, then 4 more years of Trump.
No.
Yep.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yep.
No. No. Can you shut the door? Can you shut the door?
Why?
Because I get embarrassed when I think you're listening to me. I know you're there. Back to present day. We're at the funeral. Eventually everybody ends up going because his mother ends up wanting to meet everybody. I can hear you. Beg pardon. I get very self-conscious when I think people are listening to me, and I know that he's going to be listening to me. But it's the same reason I don't let him read my writing, because I'm too close, and I feel like I will melt into a puddle of goo. It's not pleasant. Mainly because I value his opinion too much, and so I will feel bad if what I say is not very concise. And what I say is never concise because these get long and rambly, as you can tell, because it's been going for 48 minutes. He does end up starting to reconcile things with his mother, which is nice, I suppose. It's nice that she ends up not losing both of her children and instead ends up losing neither of them and sort of gaining a relationship with one that she never really had before, at least not since he was very, very small. In the middle of all that, I have also not been working on Safe in the Dark at all. Because, like, between writing Jesse and Daniel and writing more of Moira's backstory, which I am not ready to talk about until I straighten out so many more details. Because, oh boy, things there are complicated, and I need to toe some very thin lines, and I need to go over it with a lot of people and make sure that it's okay. Because, oh wow, could I so easily fuck it up. And I do not want to. Yeah. And of course, I've been working on Alex and fleshing her out a lot more and working on her and Isaac's friendship, and also at one point going, like, properly going into the fact that she is asexual. Which ended up being a lot of fun to write. It was a really enjoyable scene. And the following one, the one that involves Tom and Carrie, is going to just be a whole bag of fun because Carrie's just gonna be like, I fucking knew you weren't straight. Don't lie to me. Because that's the kind of person that she is. It just is. But I've also been working on the witchy thing, the Cauldron-born thing. Which somehow turned into not just the witchy thing, but also the gay witchy thing. And I'm still so torn between making it like actual, real, proper, normal witchcraft versus fantasy witchcraft. And my desperate want to write the sweet books in a way that doesn't suck makes me want to add just enough fantasy to keep it on that line. And I really think I might. But right now, Dahlia is dealing with some garbage because her parents have found all of her stuff. And understandably, tiny Puritan Christian town is not happy about all of this witchcraft garbage they have found in their daughter's room. But that's small town Vermont for you. Vermont really does lend itself to writing a story like that. Because there are so many teeny tiny towns around here, like, geez. There's one of them we ended up visiting because I was homeschooled. And we ended up going around trying to do this thing where you visit all the towns in Vermont. It was supposed to be a history project. One of them, everybody in the town knew each other. And they knew if you were not from there because they were not nice. They were not friendly. They were very unwelcoming. And I swear they fit like 5 churches in the space of a town that was maybe this big. It's a lot. It's a lot to handle. Mostly though, I've been fixated on safe. And I've been trying to figure out what I'm doing for Nano, because I swear to God, if I spend another NaNoWriMo working on Safe in the Dark, I am going to lose my mind. I'm really just going to lose my mind. I've spent too many on this. I did win one working on it, which technically counts as a rebel win, but it's still a win because I still wrote 56,000 words for this in a month. That was when I first started this rewrite. Or the previous rewrite, actually. Because I have fixed a lot of this, and none of it is in first person anymore. Whew. I think I've also, like, cemented the fact that these bitches can teleport. Not easily. It's definitely exhausting to the point of danger if they go too far, but it's a thing that can happen. It's a thing. And I might decide to fucking axe it later. We'll see. It's so odd to me that, like, the vampire thing has taken such a back seat except for several very specific plot points. Like, there's Alex's beginning, and then there's the Amalthea garbage that happens later. And then there's all this stuff in the middle that just happens and would happen regardless of the vampirism thing. I just don't want to let go of it. I think I'll stick around till about 8. About 10 more minutes. But then I will have to start getting ready for bed. Because I have to work tomorrow. And I have to work every day. Except the weekends. And sometimes Friday, if I decide I don't want to be there. Jesse, you poor, poor soul. That's why he sticks so hard to Alex in the beginning, too. It's because he knows what it's like. In a different way. Like, Jesse was never outright abused. Not physically, anyway, like Alex was. His would line up more with like neglect and definitely emotional abuse and definitely some verbal abuse. But even then, the verbal abuse would have been to more of a minimum. It would be more of a, would definitely be more of an emotional thing, more of a manipulative, you're not being what we want you to be sort of thing, which he takes very, very hard because he tries so hard for all of high school and before. But before, it wasn't really difficult. But he tries so hard to be perfect and to be what they want and to be what they need. And he's still not. I talk myself in circles. That's okay. I think I'm going to sign off a little bit early and do it now. Do it now. Finish up what I was doing before. Maybe start redoing my it's not technically a PowerPoint, I guess, because I use Keynote and Illustrator when I can get it to cooperate, and they both crash intermittently. But eventually, hopefully before Nano starts, hopefully before the end of October, because it's the end of September. Jesus. Hopefully, sometime around then, I will get my new PowerPoint up, my new Comic Sans presentation for all the things that have changed. And now that I have a proper face claim for Daniel, and I still need to find one for Jesse, because I still cannot cement in my head what he looks like, aside from that picture of the punk holding the kitten, because it's just so much his personality that I can't even handle it. So I will get that done. I should probably redo all my pages. I should definitely add a whip page for Cauldronborn, or Daisies and Demons, whatever I end up calling that. I need to cement my Nano project, which I think is going to be Deep Blue, which I think is going to be a sort of revamp of the whole Ocean Girl meets his Dark Materials thing that I was attempting last year, but then it turned into me working on Safe again, and that didn't go well, and I wrote about 16,000 words, and then I stopped. But it's fine, because I have a habit of winning on odd-numbered years, so we'll see if that continues, and then I will get a t-shirt this year, and the year after next. I am perfectly okay with winning every other year. Or not at all. It's fine. But I would like a new t-shirt. It seems very petty of me, but oh well. So, I will do those things. And I'll try to be more active. Mental health, cooperating. Yeah. Until then, I love you very, very much. And I hope you have a very good night and a very good day, whatever other time it is. And I hope that tomorrow is wonderful. Goodbye.